You're listening to The Drive and Kick. What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of The Drive and Kick podcast. We're recording this on the Saturday after Thanksgiving, where hopefully all of our food comas and football watching, they're out of our system. And we can now focus on the important stuff, the remainder of the NBA season. How you doing today, Joe?
Doing well, Kevin. Had a great Thanksgiving. Going to get a Christmas tree today. And I'm excited I get to revisit one of the first mailbags we received on October 17th from one Vegas Andrew. We never read this on the pod, but Vegas Andrew read, "Hello, I don't have a question, but I do have a comment. The IRS is investigating you for improperly writing off the New York Knicks." Today, we're going to be doing a lot of Knicks, and we have a special guest joining us. Mike, thank you for being here. I'd like to allow you to introduce yourself, talk about your Knicks fandom, and why you're here today.
Yeah, Joe, thank you. Thanks for having me. Kev, good to see you as always. Knicks fan since 1996, October 14th, day I was born. Probably the best day for everyone else, worst day for me because I became a Knicks fan. Have loved them growing up, have given me nothing but disappointment, but I still go to the games. I still root for them. As Joe can attest, as a Sixers fan, you just push through in the hopes of something good can happen.
I'm really excited to talk about the Knicks because one thing I will say about them is I think the Knicks have awesome fans. There are a lot of big market fan bases that I can't stand, but I really enjoy Knicks fans. I see a lot of similarities between Knicks fans and Sixers fans. There's just that psychotic love for them, despite how miserable they've been for years.
Can I just say that from a third party perspective, it does not come across as love. It comes across very much as hate.
Which is good.
We love and hate our team. You have to live and die by the sword. And there's nothing better than when your team is 17-50 and the Garden's going crazy.
Oh my goodness. I could attest to that. Some of the process Sixers games were my favorite games to watch. And that's what I love about Knicks fans, because there's so much of that within Philadelphia. It's just Sixers fans and Knicks fans are not defend your guys. I hate my guys, but I hate them so much that I love them. So
you love them for 3 plays, and then they'll make a turnover, and you immediately want them benched for the next 2 weeks. It's that kind of love hate, Joe.
Mike, give us your good in the good, the bad, the ugly, our Knicks version.
Yeah, I think for my good, I'm going to go with a player that had a lot of press going into this year, had a lot of expectations. He was a big pickup this year. I'm going to go with Jalen Brunson. I've been to 2 games live as well, so I think I love seeing how players interact on the court in person, and I love how he carries the ball, how he's kind of that floor general for us in the nicest term possible. Could he be better? Absolutely, but that's my good right now.
Yeah, he's my good as well. And one of the things that I can't help but feeling when I watch this current Knicks team is how much or how good he would have been on the team from 2 years ago when you guys made that run, lost to the Hawks in the first round. Having that floor general to kind of take the ball out of Julius Randle's hands and kind of work into an offense would have been really good for you guys. I mean, he's putting up 21, 4 and 7, 49, 30, 90 splits, hitting 57% of his twos. And then just my favorite thing about Jalen Brunson from when he was a Mavs player and this season is he just crushes guards in the post. He's in the 93rd percentile in post up across the league.
He's truly how tall is he? He's got to be,
they say he's 6'1". They say he's 6'1", but he's not. But
he plays in the post like he's 6'8".
He's just thick. He's just thick and crafty and has that little lefty fader that he does. He's been very good. He has pretty much been as advertised.
Kev, you mentioned that Brunson would be great for the team from 2 years ago, but this is essentially the same team, right? I mean,
Listen, on paper, in terms of names, a lot of similar names,
the
but
same
as we will
team.
talk about, it is not the same team.
All right. Yeah, Brunson's great. I've just like classic Villanova guy. He's so good. He does play like significantly bigger than he is. I'm a big fan of his. I'd love to have him on my team. So that's something to be happy about, Mike.
It was a good pickup. I mean, it wasn't, the box office person who's going to really bring in tickets, no LeBron, but it's moves, it's steps in the right direction.
And remind me, he's making how much money? A 4-year 104? Yeah, so he's making 26 mil. That's really not that bad in today's market.
Good money. Good money.
So, Joe, what's your good?
I don't like a lot about the Knicks. Mike, I know that you're an avid listener of the pod, but Kevin and I both on and off air frequently talk about how the Knicks are our least favorite team to watch in the NBA.
Totally agree.
But I do enjoy watching Brunson play. I don't have much else good other than him, so it's not a creative answer. But
okay, Mike, give us your bad. Now that we've covered all the positives on the whole Knicks team, aka just Jalen Brunson, give us your bad.
Yeah, bad might actually surprise, but if you're a Knicks fan, I don't think it would. It's Evan Fournier.
Yeah.
And he was a guy that was hot last year, and I think he set the single season record for most 3-pointers made for a Knicks single season, which might not have been high to begin with, but it's still a record. He was averaging, close to like 9 points a game, a little bit more some days. He was really good. Pick, pop, shoot, three. This year, he's barely getting any minutes. He's attempting half as many threes as he was the year prior. I think he's attempting 3 and maybe making 1. Absolute abysmal. Like, don't know where the drop off was. So that's my bad.
When guys like stop shooting, it's trouble. You're right, because last year Fournier, he was taking almost 8 threes a game, which is
not afraid to shoot.
Which you want him to do. Like, these guys who are meant to be volume shooters need to shoot. Like, that's the one thing that drives me nuts about Tobias Harris. Like, when up until this season, he's kind of actually relapsed a lot to old Toby, but he would take like 3 threes a game and usually make one of them. But like, you want these guys who are just supposed to be floating around the perimeter to be at least taking 7 threes a game. Fournier's been bad. Do you want me to share my bad, Kev?
Please share your bad.
I'm sorry. I don't know how you feel about the guy, but I can't stand watching Julius Randle play.
Get him out of New York.
I
hate watching him.
I don't want to say I should have probably even put him as like my ugly category, but like, I don't know what he like contributes. Like, he just floats around the perimeter. He just takes step back. I feel like he takes 5 step back threes a game. Just mid-range king. I don't know. He's not a guy that I think is like contributes significantly to winning, and watching him would make me so mad.
Yeah, he's not on he's not my bad or my ugly. I think, Mike, you said he was your ugly just now.
He's my ugly.
Which is very fair. And it's like, he's the classic, if you don't watch the Knicks and you're just reading box scores, he's the classic, like, oh, this guy's pretty good. He's putting up 21, 9, and 3, 46, 34, 76 splits. That's not terrible. But then you watch him and his stupid pump fakes and then just like kamikaze throw the ball out of bounds type stuff. It's brutal. He for isolations, he's doing 0.75 points per possession on isolations on 37% shooting. It's the 17th percentile. He's terrible. He's without question my least favorite player to watch in the NBA. And I really don't know how I would survive as a Knicks fan with him.
It's frustrating. When shooters shoot, you want that, but when they stop, their value goes down tremendously. Julius Randle had not an MVP level last year, but he had a great last year. He had a great year before.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Sorry, great 2 years ago, and that was the guy we were hoping for.
Yeah, and it's like this is going back to what Yam said earlier in the pod about how they're basically the same team. They are, in terms of Julius Randle, for example, is still on the Knicks. But 2 years ago, when they were the 5th seed or whatever, Julius Randle was hitting 41% of his threes, which is just a complete anomaly.
Career high, unprecedented numbers.
He went from like 33% to 41% in a season, and now he's back down to like 34%. It's the flukiest shooting performance from a team ever. And that leads me into my bad, which also had an extremely fluky 3-point season in that great Knicks team, and that's RJ Barrett. I'm not giving up on RJ Barrett. He's young, he works hard, he's tough, but he's been very, very rough this year. 26% on his threes, kind of chucking it. I like to go onto the team subreddit before we do a pod on a specific team, just to kind of get their feelings, what they're thinking about. And one of the top posts on the Knicks subreddit right now is just titled "Calling RJ Barrett bad is no longer reactionary." And I feel like that kind of sums up Knicks fan thoughts on what RJ's been doing this season. So
I saw in some New York media quote, RJ Barrett on missing 78 of his last 114 shot attempts. They've got to fall at some point.
That's the desperation and hopes of New York fans. It's got to fall.
He's 36 of 114 in his last 7 games.
oh
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad.
Yeah, and I just can't help but feel, and again, I don't dislike RJ, but I just can't help but feel bad for how it must be as a Knicks fan to see Zion and Ja developing and know that you just missed out on one of those two guys.
I think it's just the bad luck of New York.
Mhm.
I remember. I feel like it's almost every year the Knicks are down in the rankings, and Joe knows this as well as a Sixers fan. You're going to get a great pick. You're going to be happy, and then the team just botches it, or they get a Markelle Fultz, and you think it's great, but you realize this guy has the yips.
There are a lot of Sixers Knicks similarities and like just missing guys in drafts.
And like who people missed out on or who they chose, and then who came later on in the draft and who developed into such a great player.
A lot of it starts with, I mean, both Philadelphia and New York have had their fair share of front office dysfunction, which leads to that. I mean, there is just bad luck in picks, but front offices and brass and all that stuff really matters. And you could tell kind of when organizations don't have the right people on the bus necessarily, or in the right seats.
Feels though, Joe, your team though has made strides in the right direction, and ownership is making the progress, it seems. Whereas the Knicks, I genuinely think James Dolan's got to go and just sell the team, but we all know that's not happening nearly anytime soon. Maybe in my kid's time.
I feel the same way about Ted Leonsis. Same exact way. Joe, give us your ugly for this terrible Knicks team. Mediocre Knicks team.
Yeah, my ugly is that the Knicks have a player. There's a certain player in the Knicks who I wholeheartedly believe is the worst player in the NBA. And Kevin, you might not agree with me, but I just think Cam Reddish just sucks. Cam Reddish just sucks. Every time I watch it, I was like, this guy, like I get, and the worst part is he in like it was a hospital Sixers game too. I think the only healthy Sixers starter was Maxey in this game, but Cam Reddish just went ballistic in like the fourth quarter. But I don't know. I think this guy's, I don't know what he's good at. Like, I don't know. I can't even decide what kind of player he is. I can't stand watching Cam Reddish play, and he's got to be my ugly, because he's one of my like NBA arch nemesis.
Yeah. So first off, Jans, how dare you? Because I am the president of the Cam Reddish hater fan club or hater club. But and I'd love to hear Mike's perspective on this. I feel like Cam this year, he's showing flashes. He's showing flashes. He's kind of like a slashing. His jump shot sometimes is falling. I don't know. I would not want him on my Wizards. I'm happy my Wiz drafted Rui Hachimura instead of Cam Reddish. I was very worried about that. But this is the first year where I'm like, I can kind of see it sometimes. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, good point, Kev. Like he does have flashes of, he goes on three runs, three possessions of just like, 1-2 step, pull up three, swish. Next play, pull up, slash, drives, dunk. And then, he'll draw a foul and one. And this guy's, he's shooting 89% from free throws. So, I like our odds. But like, defense is just average. And I think it's also has to do with how Tom Thibodeau, his system, and I think he's a great coach and like he really pushes his players, but his system is almost too rigid, where players can't have their juices flowing. So I feel like that's what locks a lot of these players and problems in for the Knicks. Well, we heard it here first on September 26th when we could tell Joey Yams that we told you so. When Cam, in his 10th season, comes out and breaks out. We're 5 more seasons away for his potential to finally blossom.
Oh my God, I can't believe he's been in the NBA that long. That really
5 seasons, 3 for Atlanta, 2 for Knicks. Only played for 15 games for the Knicks though last year.
Oh, that aged me like 100 years.
Yep.
Finally, my ugly isn't so much a single Knicks player as it is the entire Knicks team's 3-point shooting. The Knicks are shooting 31% from 3 as a team, which is good for 29th in the league. They should literally be kissing the ground that the Lakers are walking on for being so unbelievably bad at 3-point shooting that no one talks about how atrocious the Knicks are from beyond the arc. I was going back through the years, just seeing how they stack up against, past teams. They would be the worst 3-point shooting team since the 2013-2014 Sixers team that didn't even win 20 games. So this team cannot shoot for the life of them. And again, that goes to Evan Fournier not playing and not really shooting much anymore. Julius Randle regressing to the mean the last 2 seasons, and RJ Barrett shooting 26% from 3. You can't win games like that you can't win games when you can't spread the floor and then do this ISO heavy play style, and then you mix in like their defense really hasn't been that good this year, and I'm sure we'll talk about that in a bit. But their 3-point shooting is almost impossibly bad.
When you think about the Knicks, Mike, who comes to mind as you think of these are our shooters? Like these are the guys I want, like catch and shoot, stand in the corner, taking open shots. Like is it Fournier?
I want Fournier. I don't know if it's a confidence issue or even when he plays, he doesn't want to shoot. It doesn't look like he has that tenacity. I guess you could say RJ Barrett, but we just discussed the atrociousness of that. Jalen Brunson is not my 3-point shooter. I want my point guard to the post. If I'm Jalen Brunson,
put the point guard on the post where he belongs.
You could then also say Emmanuel Quickly, Cam Reddish, but other than that, those are who I'm expecting. I'm occasionally getting 1 or 2 from D Rose, but not expecting much from him anymore.
You just can't rely on you have a team full of slashing mid-range guards.
Look, if there is no 3-point line, like back in the day, the Knicks would be great because they live just above the free throw line and just below the 3-point line.
Well, you didn't mention Julius Randle as being one of your shooters for someone who's taking 6 threes a game.
Yeah, I mean, I have no problem when he shoots, but the quality of those shots, Joe, are atrocious.
Oh, there's step back threes, hand in his face.
Half of them I could build a brick house with.
Yeah, he's rough.
Well, my thing is I don't really get why Obi Toppin doesn't play more. I like Obi Toppin. I'm not going to pretend like the Knicks season they would be a completely different team with Obi Toppin on the floor. But Obi Toppin is, a big athletic guy.
He
And
stretches the team out.
yeah, he's shooting like 37% from three, but he's only playing 17 minutes a game. I feel like when I've watched the Knicks, I feel like you guys kind of get a spark from him off the bench. And I don't know, he was your fourth pick, ninth pick. I actually can't remember when you guys drafted him, but when you guys picked him, it was like a couple years ago. Like, I don't know. I know Thibs doesn't like to play young guys, but he's not even really that young. I feel like he could give you guys just a different look, and I would love to see his 17 minutes per game go up to like, mid-20s.
I agree completely. Also, Kev, 8th overall pick in 2020.
8th overall. Yeah. But
He
still.
has flashes of athleticism. He's someone that I think needs to play like an RJ Barrett to develop better.
Mhm.
I feel like it's interesting watching the Knicks as a Sixers fan, because I see a lot of similarities, but because I see like the old grumpy coach who just plays his guys that he trusts and hates young guys. Like, there's a lot of Doc Tibbs similarities here. Both of them have like these intensely raspy voices as well.
Tibbs losing his hair.
Yeah, Doc doesn't really have any hair.
So, he's basically turning into Doc Rivers.
But like, Doc hates young guys. Like now Doc is like collapsing within himself because Harden, Maxey, and Embiid are hurt, and Doc is like, oh my God, I have to play young guys. And I've been enjoying watching it because like, it's nice to see these young guys get some run. And I feel like Tibbs is the same way. Like, he's got his guys, and he knows Derrick Rose was good in 2011, so he's got to play him. It's like, there's a lot of similarities between, and also schematically, now the
Systems
Sixers
are pretty run, but about the same.
It's basically the Knicks and Sixers both run this, like, they call it free flowing offense, but it's essentially nobody knows what they're doing offense. It's just ISO ball. But to me, it just looks like the Knicks try it with worse players.
Mm.
And I mean, that's my overall problem with a lot of the NBA is just pass it, go over, screen. That's it. There's no real. I mean, it's not college basketball, but it's not really organized. Some teams do it really well. I miss like the old Spurs days, but
I watch
run with the chicken head cut off.
I feel like the teams that have awesome schemes are Boston,
great,
Memphis. I was watching a Boston Memphis game the other day, and it was like watching another sport. I was like, man, this is awesome.
Also, like players like a Ja, like a Tatum, like the system's around them, but it's not rigid for them.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's what makes them so good is they work with the team that they got, they play with it, but they're not relying on Tatum to just take the ball, drive, maybe kick it out, maybe just slash.
Mm-hmm. Mike, what do you think? What do you think the future of the Knicks is looking like, given this pretty mediocre season? And by future, I don't mean just how's this season going to end up?
2, 3, 4, 5 years from now.
Yeah, well, the next few years, like what are you thinking? Is this like are you just stuck here? Do you have any sort of hopes? Like, what are you feeling right now?
For those that are listening, I'm putting up a zero hopes. And here's why. I think they had that success 2 years ago, and with the same similar teams, they're going to keep riding it almost till it's too long. And I think we're already at that stage where it's too long. And ownership's not going to change. We know that. So that means no free agents are really going to want to choose New York as their destination, which is a big issue. We've lost on some, KD, LeBron, we botched those meetings back in the day during their free agencies. So I don't think we're going to get anyone big to really splash the headlines. And because of that, we're going to be stuck with roughly around the same team next year, the year after, and then the year after. So I have no hope.
I don't blame you. Hey, listen, as a Wizards fan, that's been my life for a while now. But it just, you can't help but wonder, like, if you just included Quentin Grimes in the trade, you'd have Donovan Mitchell right now, and your season would be going so differently.
And
So differently.
we'd only go up just a little bit, but we would attract a lot.
As a neutral perspective, I still always think there's got to be some player interested in playing in New York.
Everyone wants to go. It's just a matter of, does that player want to be under an organization like the Knicks?
There are
And
always
dealing with
tea
that.
leaves. I don't know, Mike, if you've ever heard these on Knicks Reddit or Twitter, but Mr. Bill Simmons has, Kevin, I don't know if you've ever heard this either, but Bill Simmons has shared like tea leaves of like Embiid secretly like is interested in New York or something. Have you heard that?
Well, it was the beginning. It was in the beginning of the season when
Yeah.
the Sixers were doing really terribly, and Embiid is close to what's his name on the in the Knicks organization.
It's the guy who used to be Embiid's agent.
Yeah, World Wide West.
Yeah.
And so Bill Simmons was like, maybe World Wide West is putting something in his ear about pushing out and going to the Knicks.
All right, so we'll this will probably be our last Knicks things. This is a sad experiment of drafting Knicks players over the last 15 years. It was very hard to do this. So, you want me to first overall pick?
Well, hey, whoa! You get the what? Who says you get the first overall pick? I'm putting it in a generator right
Okay,
now to see
generate
who
it,
gets
generate
it.
it.
Oh, I was going to give it to
Go.
Joe Yams.
Here we
Yeah.
go. Randomize.
Probably gonna be me anyway.
Well, it did come up as me.
All right, take it.
It went me, Yams, Mike.
All right.
Fine.
So
I'm still
okay,
going to construct the better team.
with the first pick, of course I'm taking Carmelo because Carmelo is the best Knicks player in the 21st century. I think pretty handily. So that's my first pick. I'm going with Melo.
Not going to argue that one.
Oh man, this is tough. I'm gonna take Jalen Brunson.
Ooh.
I love Jalen Brunson. I hate most of the Knicks. So.
Oh God. I'm already lost. I don't even know. I'm gonna go. He was good for us for the time being. We hated him when he first got drafted. I'm gonna go Kristaps Porzingis.
Hey, KP.
Kev.
KP's been great this year.
Kev's a big fan.
I am going back. He had like his first season in New York was fantastic, and then he fell off pretty hard because he was kind of old. But I am going with Israeli basketball legend Amari Stoudemire.
I thought you were gonna say PJ Tucker. Another. He was never on the Knicks now, but
God, Amari, what an exciting time that was to be a Knicks fan in 2012.
Yeah, you guys were good that year. You had him, Tyson Chandler, Jason Kidd. Oh,
all right. My team needs a rim defender. We're gonna take Tyson Chandler.
Damn, good pick.
Mhm.
Loved him swatting those offensive rebounds just to the basically half court. Never would get him, just swat him. For my pick, I'm gonna need like a ball handler / someone that could just drive a little bit. I'm gonna go the all-time best 6-man of the year, Jamal Crawford.
that was who I was gonna take. Shoot.
Great pick, always solid.
So good. All-time leader in 4-point plays. We're gonna go with I was gonna do one, but I'm taking JR. JR during what was that 2012, 2013, or maybe it was 14, 15, when he just went on an absolute heater. He couldn't miss. He was athletic as hell and just a flamethrower. I'm going with J.R. Smith, and I'm pretty happy about it.
Show me the DMs.
All right. We have a lot of post play right now. We have post play point guard Brunson. We have Tyson Chandler. We're gonna need some shooters. So I'm gonna take Steve Novak.
Great pick. Great pick.
We need
Had him in my
shooters.
list. I had him in mine. Dude was electric.
Doing?
Steve Novak.
You need a shooter. I get it.
We need shooting. This is about fit. This isn't about talent.
Why not get like Allen Houston?
No, Steve Novak. I don't want to hear it.
Oh God. I'm gonna need another ball handler. This is tough. I'm gonna need a defensive presence. So I'm actually gonna go give me Iman Shumpert. Out of the league right now, but he busted it with us.
He was great for a couple of years. Then he cut off his flat top, and it was all downhill from that.
Mhm.
Well, I think downhill really went in the 2013 playoffs against Miami Heat when he was going up on the right side, second quarter, plants on his right foot, it pops, torn ACL, hasn't been the same since.
So my team in the modern NBA, defense is just it's overrated. Who needs a good defensive team?
I disagree.
So Carmelo Anthony, who cares? He gets buckets. Amari Stoudemire, a defense, whatever. He gets buckets. J.R. Smith, bucket getter. And my fourth pick with my massive size team is going to be David Lee. I used to love David Lee on the Knicks. He had that one season where he was putting up like 20 and 12, just cooking people on the inside. I feel like David Lee nowadays has been boiled down to the guy that got hurt and unleashed Draymond Green into the world of the NBA. Because remember, he was David Lee was starting for the Warriors before they realized what they had in Draymond Green. But I'm going with the post god himself, David Lee.
You know, it's funny about that pick, Kev. During my research last night, I think what season was it? It must have been 2005. I think he came onto the Knicks scene as a small forward, 6'9", and that's what he was listed as, small forward. Yeah. And then as the years have gone on, he was then power forward for a couple of years. And then by his last few times, he never got taller. 6'9" center. That's what he was listed as. And this guy really played it all.
I'm looking at his basketball reference page right now, and nothing like having your starting center average 0.3 blocks per game. Who needs defense?
Kevin's going to be chucking up, 135 points per game, but giving up 140.
Who's next? Who's next?
I think I'm up. Is Allen Houston still on the board?
He is.
I'll take him.
It's fair. Allen Houston's probably better than at least my last 2, if not 3 picks. But
I got Allen Houston and Steve Novak, and you laughed at my Steve Novak pick. So I'm seriously just smarter than you.
What's Steve Novak's career high in points?
You're gonna be amazed. It was pretty high.
Yeah, 8.8. Ooh.
Dude was electric.
Mike, is it your turn or is it my turn?
I'm up. I'm gonna need another big man. Give me the only logical answer. I'm gonna go with the other lefty, Zebo. Give me Zach Randolph.
I forgot about Zach Randolph on the Knicks. In my head, Zach Randolph was like Trailblazers and then went right to Memphis. But I forgot he had that Knicks stint.
He had a few stints, frustrating years.
Last round.
I have Carmelo Anthony, Amari Stoudemire, J.R. Smith, David Lee. All great players, all great scorers. But I think because it's the last round and we don't have a true point guard, I think I have to go with, maybe the best point guard a Knicks team has ever had. He didn't even play 40 games for the Knicks, but he took the entire country by storm for 2 weeks. I'm going Jeremy Lin as my starting point guard on the New York Knicks. On my New York Knicks squad. Pure offense. He's our closer. Carmelo Anthony, step aside. it's Linsanity time.
It's a great pick.
Okay.
Yeah, can't argue that one.
I really hate myself for this one, but I feel like he's the best available player left, and I need another forward. I'm taking Randall.
Oh,
Wow.
I'm taking Julius Randall. Yeah, sorry.
That just makes my small forward a lot tougher. It's like literally, who do you want to take? I think I'm gonna go Wilson Chandler. It was between him or Quentin Richardson, but I loved watching Wilson Chandler just kind of move, and he was basically like water on the court. He was so smooth.
Let me tell you, when he was on the Sixers in it was
2018.
2018, he was truly dead. Like, I have never seen a skeleton just play basketball for. The man was not alive anymore. I've never seen anything like it. Like, it was Walking Dead.
Oh my God. Is that it? Do we all make our picks?
Yeah, we can go through your starting five. What do you got?
At point guard, we're going Jeremy Lin. Shooting guard, J.R. Smith. Coming in at small forward, Carmelo Anthony. Followed up by Amari at power forward and David Lee at center.
We have Jalen Brunson at point guard, Steve Novak at shooting guard, Allen Houston, small forward, Julius Randle, power forward, and Tyson Chandler at center.
Solid. I got Iman Shumpert at the point, Jamal Crawford, shooting guard, Wilson Chandler, the small forward. We got Kristaps, and I got Zach Randolph. What a team.
All right, Mike,
well,
any final words on the Knicks?
I feel like I've expelled all of my, this is a group therapy session, really let it all out. I will say, my last thought, Joe, go out, give the people the money. Go get a good free agent. I don't care what it's going to take. If it's going to break James Dolan's bank, I don't care.
James Dolan might have to sell another helicopter.
Let him sell the next 3, his super yacht, his deed to the underworld. I don't care. Give me a big name.
Okay, so do we want to talk some non-Knicks briefly?
Please.
Let's finish up with some non-Knicks.
Guys, give me some of your teams that you think are probably falling down or maybe are going to fall down the rankings in the East and West Conference from where they were maybe even a week or two ago.
Mike, you off.
Sure. I think I'll go with the East first. I think that's going to be, in my opinion, a more interesting influx of, risers and losers. But I think the Pacers, I feel like they're going to 11-7, not too bad starting off the year, 4 seeds so far. I just don't see that being sustained. I still think they're a playoff team. I still think they're going to, maybe make a run to the second round, but I see them really dropping down to the Wizard spot, number 7. So that's one. I think the Hawks actually are going to see them young and players that they got, young players. They had the experience last year. I could see them making a second half push to actually finish 3rd in the East.
Yeah, so you did your faller and riser.
So I did one faller, one riser. Yeah, so those are 2 that I think are the most interesting from like a mid to top tier teams of where they would fall. I think the 76ers are going to stay where they are at 6. Sorry, Joe. But then, the Heat and the Bulls, they got to pick it up. They're going to go up to, maybe 8 and like a 5 respectively.
Sure, I could see all those. I'm a lot lower on the Bulls than that, to be honest. I just don't think the Bulls have very much. I'm not a huge Vucevic guy, even though he's actually been playing okay. And I just think I don't know. I could see them being sellers at the trade deadline, but Who knows? Anything's possible. They definitely have talent. They definitely have offensive ability. I just don't know if they can guard anybody. So, yeah, so what teams in the East do you have?
The Sixers are tough to predict because it's just a matter of health. Like I think overall the Sixers have been playing a lot better. It's just I can't tell how big of a hole they're going to dig themselves during these weeks without their three best players. So I don't want to touch the Sixers now. I can't see I mean, Indiana is just like playing out of their minds right now. I feel like they're gonna figure out ways to lose. Like they're probably gonna trade Turner, and the Turner Yield package is probably gonna finally come to fruition. I think they're gonna fall. I mean, like they're just not a top 4 seed, let alone a top 6 seed. I can't see it with them. What I'm really interested in, and I agree, Kevin, I think the Bulls are bad. They're like as slow as the Sixers. But they have less talent. I don't believe in the Bulls. I'm really interested in the Heat because the Heat, everyone's like, oh, it's slow start. But I actually think the Heat might be bad. So I'm gonna leave. I don't think the Heat are gonna make any kind of push. I think this is the year they finally fall off. I feel like the Nets have some kind of push in them. Like they're just so talented.
They have to.
They have to. They have to. And they're healthy. Like the Sixers aren't healthy. Like I think a healthy Sixers can make a push to a top 4 seed, but the whole team's in the hospital. So I'll probably like hate myself for saying this, but the Nets have to make some kind of like run because that team, although they look like they hate each other and they don't guard anybody, they're healthy and they're so deep and talented. So I don't know, probably Nets making a push to at least like a top 5 seed, but who knows?
When your team's that good, you do figure it out by the end of the season. You work out any kink that there is.
But they have been so bad. They've been like defensively, they might be the worst defensive team to watch in the league. They still can score. Like Durant and them will still score. Durant will drop like 30 a night, and Kyrie will get his, and Simmons will disappear in the fourth. But like, they just can't guard anybody. So I don't know.
They should implement like a note, like just get rid of all social media for them. Maybe they just need to stay away from any electronics and just focus on the game.
Yeah.
They just need to have Elon Musk delete their Twitter, ban it. Something pretty radical. I don't know.
Yeah, I could see that. I think the Nets are better than they actually are, but we'll see. I just can't. I've given up on predicting this Nets team. I have no idea. I think Kevin Durant healthy makes you a playoff team, just him alone. But I guess we'll find out. I agree with you guys. I think Pacers, sorry, Danny, have to be the team most likely to drop at the top of the conference. They're 8-2 in their last 10. Tyrese Halliburton is balling out. Love them. They're fun to watch. I just don't know if that's sustainable. But my team that I think is going to rise is the Toronto Raptors. The Toronto Raptors are 9-9. They're 4-6 in their last 10, and they've been battling injuries. But I think once that team gets healthy, we just see time and time again that these Raptors teams might not have a lot of big names, but they just put together these runs and these feisty defensive fast break run and gun squads. And I'm not saying that they're gonna compete with the Bucks or the Celtics, but I think they have a pretty good chance at finishing top 5 in the East, and they're at 8. They're the 8th seed right now, and I just can't imagine that Raptors team being in the playoff, barring a major season-long injury to one of their better players. So we'll see. Do you guys want to give me your Western teams?
Yeah, let's do West. What do you got, Mike?
I was gonna say, Joe, kick it off.
I'll kick it off. I think that I don't want to say the Jazz because they're already they're already in the process of coming back to earth. So I think my team that you're gonna see fall is really Portland. I know that Lillard's hurt, but everybody was so like first week or two of the season, we were so amped up on the Blazers, but I don't know. Defensively, they're not quite there. I don't really know what they give you, especially when Lillard's banged up. It's like I don't trust Jeremy Grant to lead a team. Anthony Simons is like not a guy that like moves the needle in the playoffs, especially because he's kind of a bit of a rough defender. So I don't know. I think they'll probably be in the play-in, but they're not gonna be like a top 5, top 4 seed. And then the Warriors just are gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
They're gonna figure it out.
Crazy stat by them. They're 9-1 at home, and then they're 1-9 away.
That's crazy.
That is just nuts.
Yeah, they're gonna figure it out.
At some point it has to click for the Warriors. I feel like that's the obvious answer for that, for a team that's going to rise up the rankings. Where are they 11th right now? Either 11th in the West or 10 and 10. And again, at some point, like, Jordan Poole isn't going to be really bad, and they're going to one of the young guys is going to have to be like take a step, and I just I think they'll be a playoff team without question. If they're even in the play-in, I will be absolutely shocked. So, Mike, do you have anything different between Trailblazers and Warriors?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see any of the top teams really dropping. I kind of think that's, I mean, it's early on to say, but I think we're going to see, Suns, Nuggets, 1, 2, Grizzlies, Pelicans, Trailblazers, all going to fluctuate between that 3, 4, 5 spot, in my opinion. Really going to see more of an uptick. And actually, I think this is an interesting play of the Thunder.
I love SGA.
SGA, seeing him live as well against the Knicks and demolishing us was truly interesting to see, because I couldn't name a single player on that team going into that game, but I was really captivated by how they played. I mean, they shot lights out. They shot like 62% from 3 that day against the Knicks, but I think they got something special that they could, make a push to the play-in game. And then that's like my real surprise. Like, I think they'll be a fun team to look out for if they're in the race going into the All-Star break, for if they finish 9, 8, or 7 going into that race. I think it's going to be a fun second half for them.
Yeah, I would love another competitive Thunder team. We obviously have not had one for some time. I don't think they're quite ready. I also don't think they're quite willing. SGA has been so good. He's just putting this team on his back and just like dragging them to these wins. I mean, when the Sixers lost to the Thunder, I think we had 4 of the top 5 best players, but SGA was the best player on the court, so it didn't even matter.
Wizards, not the Sixers.
Oh, did I say Sixers? I'm sorry. I meant Wizards. When I watched the Wizards play him, he just destroyed us. But they're a super fun team to watch. So
yeah, I just don't think like organizationally they want to win quite yet. I think that they want to win.
Develop.
Yeah, I think they're going to be ready to win in about 2 years. So I think they're going to win enough games because they're like SGA is awesome, but I just don't think the front office wants to win this year. So they're
not going to make any trades. They're not going to do anything really. Yeah. But I think this team enough could get them to a play-in game.
Yeah, I can see that.
Be fun to see.
I'd like to end, since we have a Sixers fan and a Knicks fan in here. Let's end with some self-loathing and talk about who is the worst player on our respective teams. It also could be a player that maybe you just hate the most. You can get creative. But I'll start, and it is one Daniel House Jr. There was a tough competition between Daniel House Jr. and Montrezl Harrell, but Montrez has been a little bit more useful, although he still sucks. Daniel House is terrible.
Daniel House, member of the all horny team.
Mhm.
Mike, who you got?
It's tough. I was thinking about going, person who doesn't play a lot, but when they do play, it's absolutely abysmal. Do I go with a player that plays a lot, but adds no value and is not going to help the team win? So I think I'm going to go with they're going to go with that category. Someone who plays a lot and provides zero help. And that's, talked to him earlier on the pod, Evan Fournier. Just, shoot more threes, get out of something. I don't know, go to a witch doctor, do something.
He also probably has the worst hair on the Knicks, so have to consider that.
It's almost Doc Rivers bad.
So for the Wizards, there's so many options for the Wizards, just so many. I think the actual worst players on our team are either Vernon Carey or Isaiah Todd, but they don't even play, and they're pretty meh even for the G League.
Yeah, they need minutes.
If I really wanted to be a pessimist, but it's probably kind of accurate, I would say the worst player that's played at least some meaningful minutes for us this year is Johnny Davis. But I'm not going to be a pessimist. I'm not going to be a pessimist about our first round pick and how unbelievably bad he is. He plays defense with his hands down, can't shoot, can't pass, can't dribble, but that's okay. He's young. He'll figure it out, I hope. I'm going to go with the guy that every time he checks into the game and he plays decent minutes, I turn to my dad if we're watching together and I go, I can't believe that he's still in the NBA. And it's Anthony Gill. Anthony Gill seems like such a lovely guy, good teammate, very friendly, very supportive. He's the first guy off the bench on a timeout, going out there, high-fiving everyone, but he just isn't good at anything. He's a 6'7" center. That's what he is. He can't shoot. He scores like 2 points a game. And, if he does anything positive, it's a win for the Wizards. When this contract ends, he'll be going over to Europe. So that's my guy.
He doesn't even look like an NBA player. Like, he doesn't even have like the body of an NBA player. Like, he looks like a EuroLeague guy. Like, I feel like he'd do great in like Turkey.
He literally, like, he doesn't do anything well except cheer on his teammates. He's great at cheering on his teammates. But we play him like 17 minutes a game. It's so bad. It's so bad. So, well, with that, do we have any closing thoughts on this pod?
No, I mean, I appreciate Mike being here. It was good to talk Knicks. They're like one of the biggest markets in the NBA. We've barely touched on them yet this season, so it's good to get both neutral perspectives from me and Kev and an insider scoop from the emotions of a fan.
Stressed fan.
Knicks fan.
Stressed always. But thank you guys for having me. It was good to let it out. Good to talk about it. Good to see where we're heading.
So happy we could help with this cathartic podcast. Mike, anything to help you get this off your chest? Okay, well, with that, thank you everyone for listening to this week's episode of The Drive and Kick. We will be back next Monday, and don't forget to send your mailbag questions in.
Nice. See you guys.